Welcome. Tonight, let your mind drift into the quiet corners of the English language. You're about to hear a collection of rare and beautiful words, each one chosen for its uniqueness, its sound, and the way it settles gently on the tongue. There's no story to follow, no plot to remember, just a slow, peaceful unfolding of language, designed to lull you to sleep. The images will stay dark, but whimsical. The words will flow, and all you have to do is listen. Let's begin. Iambic, study of remedies. Iambic, consisting of iambuses, employing iambuses. Iambize, to satirize or lampoon, to ridicule in iambic verse. Iambographer, one who writes iambic verses. Iambus, poetic foot consisting of short then a long syllable. Ianthine, violet-coloured. Iatrolyptic, relating to the curing of diseases by means of unguents. Atramelia, medical negligence. Iatrarchy, government by physicians. Iatrochemistry, application of chemistry to medical theory. Iatrogenic, induced inadvertently by medical treatment. Iatrology, treatise or text on medical topics, study of medicine. Iatromathematics, archaic practice of medicine in conjunction with astrology. Iatrophobia, fear of going to the doctor. Iberis, low-growing flowering shrubby herb. Ibex, wild mountain goat with recurved horns. Ibidem, in the same place. Ibidin, pertaining to the ibis. Ibis, large stork-like bird, a pale apricot colour. Ikako, small fruit-bearing tropical tree. Ice blink, glare in the sky caused by light reflected off ice. Iceland, any land of perpetual ice. Ichneumon, small mongoose-like carnivorous quadruped. Ichneumous, parasitical. Ichnutic, of, like or pertaining to a tracker or tracking. Ichnite, fossilized footprint. Ichnogram, footprint. Iconography, art of drawing ground plans. A ground plan. Ichnology, science of fossilized footprints. Ichnomancy, divination using footprints. Ichorесcent, becoming Icarus. Ichthyic, of, resembling or pertaining to fish. Ichthyoacanthotoxism, poisoning from the sting or bite of a fish. Ichthyocoprolite, fossilized fish poop. Ichthyography, writing or description of fishes. Ichthyoid, fish-like. Ichthyolatry, the worship of fish. Ichthyology, study of fish. Ichthyomancy, divination by inspecting fish entrails. Ichthyomorphic, shaped like a fish. Ichthyonomy, classification of fishes. Ichthyophagus, fish-eating. Ichthyophile, one who loves fish or fishes. Ichthyopolist, fish seller. Ichthyotoxism, poisoning from fish venom. Ichthytaxidermy, fish taxidermy. Ichu, Andean alpine grass. Ickle, little. Iconism, imagery, metaphor. Iconoclasm, attacking of established beliefs. Iconoduly, veneration of icons or images. Iconography, study of drawing symbols. Iconolagny, sexual stimulation from pictures or statues. Iconolatry, image worship. Iconology, study of icons, symbols. Economicy, opposition to the worship of images or icons. Iconomancy, divination using icons. Iconomania, obsession with icons or portraits. Iconomatic, using pictures to represent sounds of words. Rebus writing. Iconometer, instrument for finding size of object by measuring its image. Iconophilism, a taste for pictures and symbols. Iconophobia, fear or hatred of images. Iconoclast, one who makes images or icons. Iconoscope, old kind of television camera tube. Iconostasis, screen or partition in Eastern churches with tiers of icons. Iconotropy, misinterpretation by one group of the mythic imagery of another group. Icosahedron, solid with 20 plane faces. Icterical, of, like, or pertaining to, or suffering from jaundice. Icterine, of like or pertaining to orioles and related birds. Icterine, yellowish or marked with yellow. Ictericious, jaundiced, yellow. Icterogenic, causing jaundice. Ictroid, resembling jaundice. Ictic, of, pertaining to or caused by, a blow or stroke, pertaining to metrical stress. Ictuate, to emphasize, to put metrical stress on. Ictus, stress in poetry or verse. Idealism, doctrine that reality is ultimately mental. Idempotent, quantity which does not change when squared. Ideogenous, being of mental origin. Ideogeny, study of origins of ideas. Ideogram, symbol that stands for a concept rather than a word. Ideography, writing using signs representing ideas rather than sounds. Ideophone, word that is spoken but not written. Ideopraxist, one who is impelled to carry out an idea. Idiochromatic, having unique or distinctive coloration. Idiocrasis, intrinsic peculiarity or unique feature. Idioglossia, private language developed between children. Ideograph, private mark, trademark. Ideography, study or description of individual events or facts rather than patterns. Idiolect, distinctive individual form of speech. Ideologism, personal speech. Peculiarity. Idiomology, study of idiom, jargon or dialect. Idiomorphic, having a unique or distinct form. Idiopathic, disease particular to an individual. Idiophone, percussion instrument made of naturally resonant material. Idiorhythmic, self-regulating. Idiothermos, warm-blooded. Idioticon, vocabulary of a particular district. Idolomancy, divination using idols. Idolomania, obsession or devotion to idols. Idolothite, sacrifice presented to an idol. Idolum, mental image, logical fallacy. Idoneous, suitable, appropriate, if so ever, if ever. Ignaria, laziness, laxity. Ignescent, capable of emitting sparks, of a volatile mood. Ignicalist, fire worshipper. Ignify, to burn, ignipotent, presiding over fire. Ignivormous, vomiting or spewing forth fire. Ignocency, forgiveness. Ignotism, mistake due to ignorance. Iguana, large tropical New World lizard. Iwi, bright red Hawaiian bird. Elastical, propitiatory, expiatory. Iliac, of, like or pertaining to the loins. Ilicic, of, like or pertaining to holly. Ilka, kind or nature. Illapse, to glide in. Illoquiate, to ensnare. Illation, the act of inferring from premises. Illative, indicating movement into or toward. Illaudable, not praiseworthy. illucibrous, enticing, attractive. Illest, one who refers to oneself in the third person. Illimitable, limitlessly infinite. Illinition, act of rubbing against or on. Illiquation, the melting of one thing into another. Illusion, the act of striking against something. Illocution, an act which is performed by speaking words. Illude, to trick. Illuminism, belief in an inward spiritual light. Illusionism, belief that the external world is philosophy. Illutation, mud bath. Illuvium, material dissolved in water and deposited in layers. Imagism, doctrine of use of precise images with unrestricted subject. Imago, idealized mental image of a person. Imbibition, the absorption of a liquid by a solid or gel. Imbreviate, to enroll. Imbricate, to lay overlapping one another. Imbroglio, confusing or disturbing situation, confused mass or heap. Imbrue, to wet or moisten. Imbrute, to degrade to the state of a brute. Imburse, to put in a purse, to pay. Emanation, flowing in. Immanent, inherent, permanently pervading the universe. Immanentism, belief in an immanent or permanent God. Immarcessible, unfading, imperishable. Immaterialism, the doctrine that there is no material substance. Immeability, state of being impassable or impermeable. Immerge, to immerse, to dip into water. Immeritus, undeserving. Imminutition, lessening, decreasing. Immiseration, progressive impoverishment or degradation. Emission, insertion, infusion. Immix, to commingle. Immoralism, rejection of morality. Immortel, everlasting dried flower. Immunifacient, causing immunity. Immunogenetics, study of genetic characteristics of immunity. Immunogenic, producing an immune response. Immunopathology, study of immunity to disease. Immure, to imprison, to shut in. Implacable, not able to be quieted or appeased. Imponate, embodied in bread. Impavadigitate, having an odd number of fingers on each limb. Imparlance, delay in pleading for amicable adjustment. Impaste, to lay paint or colours thickly on. Impavid, fearless, undaunted. Impecunious, without money, penniless. Impedimenta, things that impede, baggage. Impedimentary, hindering, obstructing. Impanate, featherless, wingless. Imprescriptible, not recorded, unwritten. Imperseverant, lacking the power to perceive. Impest, to infest with plague or pestilence. Impetrate, to obtain by entreaty, request or prayer. Impeniorate, to pledge, pawn or mortgage. Impleach, to intertwine. Impletion, filling, fullness, fulfillment. Implex, not simple, involved, complicated. Implodent, an implosive sound. Implumus, without feathers. Imponent, that which imposes an obligation. Importune, to press or urge with repeated requests. Impostume, abscess. Imprecate, to call down by prayer, to curse, to invoke evil on. Imprescriptible, inalienable. Impressed, a loan or advance of money. Imprimatur, license to print a book. Imprimis, in the first place. Imprimative, not primitive, impropriate to appropriate for private use. Improvident, lacking foresight, thoughtless, impudicity, shamelessness, impugn to oppose, to attack by words or arguments, imputation, attribution of fault to, imsonic, onomatopoetic, inaniloquent, prone to foolish or empty babbling, inanition, emptiness, starvation, inappetent, lacking desire or appetite, inapt, unfit or unqualified, inorate, gilded, golden, in being, inherence, inherent existence, inboard, inside the line of a ship's bulwarks or hull, incalescent, growing warm, incunus, covered with soft white hair, incardination, acceptance by a diocese of clergymen from another diocese, incarnadine, carnation-coloured, blood-red, incatenation, harnessing, chaining together, inseed, to advance majestically, incendivity, the power of causing ignition, incentivize, to be given an incentive, incept, to take into the body, ingest, inceptive, marking the beginning or formation, inchoate, undeveloped, just begun, incipient, beginning, in an early stage, incivism, neglect of duty as a citizen, inclinometer, instrument for measuring inclination to the horizontal of an axis, incommissible, unable to be mixed or intermingled, incommode, to cause trouble or inconvenience to, incommutable, that cannot be commuted or exchanged, incompossible, incapable of coexisting, inconsinity, lack of congruousness or proportion, incondite, not well put together, poorly constructed, inconscient, unconscious, abstracted, in contraire, in opposition to, incoronate, crowned, incorpse, to incorporate, incrassate, to thicken, increscent, waxing, incubus, nightmare, burden, inculcate, implant in by persistent urging, inculpate, to blame, to incriminate, incult, uncultivated, coarse, incunabulist, one who collects early books, incunabulum, early printed book, early version of a thing, incuse, impressed or stamped upon, indicate, to search out, to investigate, indehiscent, not opening when mature, indicia, indicating marks or symptoms, indifferentism, the belief that all religions are equally valid, indigence, poverty, state of being needy, indine, unworthy, disgraceful, unseemly, indigo, deep blue-violet colour, a blue-violet dye, indiscerptible, not able to be separated, indite, to compose, individualism, belief that individual interests and rights are paramount, indoles, inherent disposition, industier, peace treaty or armistice, inductivism, belief in the superiority of induction over deduction, indue, to supply, to endow, indulgence, former Catholic pardon granted for remission of punishment for sins, indult, special temporary dispensation granted by the Catholic Church, indumentum, total body covering of hair, fur or feathers, indurate, to make hard, callous or unfeeling, induviae, withered leaves which persist on plants, indwell, to exist within as a guiding force, ineloquence, unappealing speech, ineluctable, against which it is useless to struggle, inescatory, of, like or pertaining to baiting, adapted to bait, inesculent, inedible, inessive, indicating location within, inient, entering, inexpiable, that which cannot be expiated or atoned for, inexpugnable, not able to be attacked or captured, infandus, unmentionable, infantocracy, government by an infant, infarction, tissue dying due to lack of blood flow, infalsed, unlucky, ill-omened, infelicitous, inappropriate in application or expression, inferiority offerings to the spirits of the dead, infecet, not facetious, rudely jesting, infinitism, belief that God or the universe are infinite, inflorescence, process of producing flowers, flowering, infomania, excessive devotion to accumulating facts, infra below, later in a text, infrangible, not able to be broken or violated, infructuous, not fruitful, infumate, smoky, blackened, infundibuliform, having the form or shape of a funnel or cone, infuscate, clouded or tinged with brown, obscured, cloudy brown colour, ingonation, deception, ingate, inlet for molten metal in founding, ingeminate, to reiterate, to redouble, ingerence, intrusion, interference, ingle, a fire in a room, a fireplace, inglenook, alcove by a large open fire, ingluvies, a crop or craw of birds, ingluvious, gluttonous, ingravescent, becoming more severe, ingression, pronounced with inhalation rather than exhalation, inguinal, of, like or pertaining to the groin, ingurgitate, to swallow, to guzzle, inhorsed, to drink in, inhere, be inherent, inhumation, burial, act of depositing in the ground, inhumist, referring to a society that burns its dead, inimical, hostile, harmful, iniquity, wickedness, gross injustice, inkhorn, portable case for ink, inkhornism, pedantic word or expression, inligation, pardoning of an outlaw, inlapidate, to petrify, inly, inwardly, thoroughly, innocency, state of leaning or resting upon something, innominate, having no name, innoxious, harmless, inoperculate, without an operculum or lid, inopinate, not thought of, unexpected, inorthography, incorrect spelling, inosculate, to join together with ducts or openings, to blend or combine, inquilin, living with another, dwelling in another creature's lair, inquinate, to corrupt or defile, inquirendo, authority to inquire into something, inquisiturient, eager to act as an inquisitor, inquorate, not making up a quorum, insonation, staging, setting, inscient, having little or no knowledge, insculp, to engrave, to cut or carve from something, insectifuge, insect repellent, insectivorous, eating insects, insectology, study of insects, incessorial, adapted for perching, insidiate, to conspire against, to betray, incipience, lack of wisdom, stupidity, insulate, to treat by exposure to the sun's rays, insouciance, indifference, apathy, insouciant, light-hearted and unconcerned. Inspan, to bring or force into service. Inspissate, to thicken or condense. Instanter at once. Instauration, restoration, renewal. Institutorial, of, like or pertaining to an agent or factor. Instructive, indicating means whereby. Instrumental, indicating means by which. Instrumentalism, doctrine that ideas are instruments of action. Insufflate, to disseminate by blowing, to breathe upon. Insulse, lacking wit, dull, stupid, insipid. Intaglio, a figure engraved into a gem or another substance. Integument, an external covering or coating. Intellection, act of thinking, exercise of the intellect. Intellectualism, belief that all knowledge is derived from reason. Intemerate, pure, undefiled. Intempestive, unseasonable, untimely, inopportune. Intenerate, to make tender, to soften. Intenable, not capable of holding or retaining. Interactionism, belief that mind and body act on each other. Interamnion, between two rivers. Intercalary, interpolated, inserted between other things. Intercalation, interpolation, insertion between others. Interciliary, between the eyebrows. Intercipient, intercepting. Interclude, to block, to enclose, to cut off. Intercolline, lying between hills. Intercostal, between the ribs. Intercrural, within or pertaining to the area between the legs. Interdigitate, to interlock in the manner of locked fingers. Interdine, to eat together. Interfenestration, spacing of windows. Interferometer, instrument for analyzing spectra of light. Interfluve, area between two rivers that flow in the same direction. Intergrade, to merge or shade by means of intermediate steps. Interim, meanwhile. Interjacent, intervening, situated between two things. Interjaculate, to ejaculate in interruption. Interlaminate, to insert between layers. Interlocutor, one who converses. Interpreter, participant in conversation. Interlocution, thinning of a forest to let some light in. Interlunation, dark time between old moon and new. Intermure, to wall in. Internecine, causing mutual destruction. Internuncio, messenger between two parties. Low-ranking papal legate. Interosculant, possessing attributes common to different groups. Interpellation, question raised during the course of debate. Interpilaster, space between two pilasters. Interpunct, point or dot between words in place of spaces. Interpunction, insertion of punctuation marks in writing. Interramification, interweaving of branches. Interrex, one who rules during an interregnum regent. Interrobang, combination of exclamation point and question mark. Interscribe, to write between. Intersidereal, between stars. Interstitial, of, like or pertaining to the space between things. Intertessellation, complex interrelationship. Intertee, short timber binding together upright posts. Intertrigo, skin rash due to friction of two moist surfaces. Intervallum, between the ramparts. Intervolve, to roll up or entwine with one another. Intinction, administering communion by dipping bread into wine. Intitule, to endow or furnish with a title. intorted, twisted inwards, involved. Intrados, undersurface of an arch or vault. Intrant, entering, penetrating. Introessive, indicating motion into. Introit, psalm or hymn sung at beginning of church service. Intromet, to introduce, to admit, to insert. Introos, turned or facing inward. Introspectionism, doctrine that knowledge of mind must derive from introspection. Intuitionism, belief that the perception of truth is by intuition. Intumesce, to enlarge, to swell, to bubble. Intersusception, movement of one part of a thing into another. Inumbrate, to cast a shadow upon, to shade. Inunction, anointing, smearing or rubbing with ointment. Inurbanity, lack of manners or deportment. Incivility. Inusitation, disuse, disrepair. Inustian, burning in, cauterization. Invaginate, to sheathe, to draw in, to enfold. Inveigh, to make an attack in speech or writing. Inveigle, to entice, to wheedle. Invenit, invented it. Inverecund, shameless, unabashed. Inveterate, long established, confirmed. Invictive, insurmountable, undefeatable. Invidious, likely to excite indignation against the performer. Invination, presence of Christ's blood in sanctified wine. Inviscate, to entrap with sticky material. Invitatory, psalm or anthem sung before prayer during church service. Invultuation, the making of an image for use in witchcraft. In with, inside. Ionophone, loudspeaker that uses vibrations of ionized air to amplify sound. Ionosondi, device for recording information about the ionosphere using echoes. Iopterous, having violet-coloured wings. Ioticism, excessive use of the letter I. Iotize, to add the letter I before another letter. Ipecac, a nemetic root plant. Ipecacuanhic, of or relating to ipecac. Ipiti, a small antelope. Ipsand, old name for the ampersand. Ipsieti, selfhood, state of being oneself. Ipsilateral, occurring on the same side of the body. Iracund, inclined to become angry. Iracundulous, somewhat inclined to become angry. Irascent, becoming enraged or angry. Ireless, without anger or ire. Irenarch, ancient Roman and Byzantine keeper of the peace. Irenic, conducive to or working towards peace. Irenicon, proposal to promote peace between rival churches. Irenology, the study of peace. Irion, belonging to the iris of the eye. Iridaceous, of like or pertaining to iris plants. Iridal, of or pertaining to the rainbow. Iridian, having or suggestive of the colours of a rainbow. Iridic, of like or pertaining to the iris of the eye. Iridine, rainbow-like. Iridize, to make iridescent. Iridology, study of the iris. Diagnosis of disease based on the iris of the eye. Irisate, to render iridescent. Iriscope, instrument for exhibiting the prismatic colours. Iroko, West African hardwood tree. Ironis, ironically. Ironism, practice of using irony. Ironless, not possessing iron. Ironmaster, head of an ironworks. ironwort, herb reputed to be effective in treating sword wounds. Irradiant, emitting rays of light. Eradicate, to fix firmly. Erased, in heraldry, indented. Irrecusable, that cannot be rejected. Irredenta, territory related ethnically to one state but subject to another. Irredentism, advocating restoration of territory to a nation. Irredivivus, unable to be revived. Irreflex, not turned back, not turned aside. Irrefragable, that cannot be refuted, unanswerable. Irrefrangible, incapable of refraction. Irregenerate, not regenerate. Unregenerate. Irrelate, unrelated. Irreligion, hostility to religious principles, lack of religion. Irreligionism, system of belief that is hostile to religions. Irremissible, which cannot be returned. Irrevocable. Irremissible, that cannot be forgiven. Unpardonable. Irremoval, absence of removal. Irreplavisable, in law, that cannot be restored to its rightful owner. Irrepossible, unable to be demanded back. Irreption, stealthy entrance, a subtle or creeping entry into. Irreptitious, having crept into a text. Irrequisite, unnecessary. Irresient, having no residence, not resident. Irrespectuose, disrespectful. Irresultive, having no result. Irritiate, to ensnare, to trap in a net. Irrevincible, invincible, incontrovertible. Irriguous, watered. Wet, irrigating. Irrisible, worthy of derision. Irrision, the act of laughing at another. Irrisory, mocking, derisive. Irrit, void. Irroborate, to strengthen. Irroration, watering a plant with discharge of a sick person. Irruent, running hastily, rushing. Irrumpant, bursting or breaking in. Eruption, breaking or bursting in. Isabelline, greyish-yellow, is abnormal, line connecting points of equal deviation from mean temperature. Isacoustic, line connecting points of equal acoustic quality. Isagogue, academic introduction to a subject. Isagogic, introductory. Isalobar, line connecting points of equal change in barometric pressure. Isalotherm, line connecting points of equal temperature variation in a period. Isanemone, line connecting points on map having same wind velocity. Isantha, line connecting points where flowers bloom at the same time of year. Isapostolic, equal to or contemporary with the apostles. Ascetis, Arctic fox. Ischemia, lack of blood in a part of the body due to an obstruction. Ischiatic, off or pertaining to the ischium or hip. Ischiorogic, of an iambic line having spondees in the second, fourth or sixth place. Ischiuretic, diuretic. Ischuria, retention of urine. Isidomal, line connecting points of equal visibility of a spectacle. Esentropic, line connecting points of equal entropy. Ishan, prehistoric Iraqi mound. Ishis, hip joints. Easing, meat sausage. Isinglass, firm semi-transparent substance used to make jellies. Islandic, of or pertaining to an island. Islesman, inhabitant of a group of islands. Islamania, craze or obsession for islands. Ismatic, addicted to isms or faddish theories. Isness, the fact of being, essence. Isobar, line connecting points of same atmospheric pressure. Isobase, line connecting points of equal land upheaval. Isobath, line connecting points of equal underwater depth. Isobathytherm, line connecting points of equal temperature and depth underground. Isobront, line connecting points of simultaneous storm development. Isocephaly, arrangement of figures in art so that their heads are at the same height. Isechar, line connecting points of similar distinguishing characteristics of plant life. Isochasm, line connecting points of equal frequency of aurorae. Isochaeum, line connecting points of same average winter temperature. Isochlor, line connecting points of equal chlorine concentration. Isochore, line connecting points of varying conditions under constant volume. Isochrone, line connecting points of equal time difference or simultaneous occurrence. Isochronous, having the same duration, recurring at equal intervals. Isochros, having a uniform color. Isoclinal, line connecting points of same magnetic dip. Isocost, line connecting points of equal cost. Isocracy, equal political power. Isochrem, line connecting points of equal winter temperature. Isodiabatic, having equal transmission of heat. Isodose, line connecting points that receive equal doses of radiation. Isodynamic, line connecting points of equal magnetic intensity. Isoflaw, line connecting points of equal number of plant species. Isogam, line connecting points of equal acceleration due to gravity. Isogen, line connecting points of equal birth rates. Isogeny, sameness or similarity of origin. Isogeotherm, line connecting points of equal subterranean temperature. Isogloss, line connecting points of similar regional dialect. Isoglossal, having similar speech patterns or language. Isogonal, having equal angles. Isogonal, line connecting points of equal magnetic declination. Isograd, line connecting points of similar conditions during geological metamorphism. Isogram, line connecting points on a map having some similar feature. Isograph, line connecting points of same linguistic usage in some respect. Isography, imitation of handwriting. Isohaline, line connecting points of equal salinity. Isohalcine, line connecting points of equal ocean salinity. Isohel, line connecting points of equal sunlight. Isoyet, line connecting points of equal rainfall. Isochorionic, line connecting points of equal occurrence of thunderstorms. Isolex, line connecting points of same vocabulary usage. Isoline, line connecting points on a map having some similar feature. Isomagnetic, line connecting points of equal magnetic induction. Isometric, line connecting points of equal variations of pressure. Isomorph, line connecting points of same linguistic morphological forms. Isonephelic, line connecting points of equal cloud cover. Isonomy, equal law, rights or privileges. Isonym, word having the same derivation or form as another. Isopatch, line connecting points of equal thickness of geological strata. Isophene, line connecting points of the same phenotype or seasonal variation. Isophote, line connecting points of equal light intensity from a given source. Isopiestic, line connecting points of equal pressure but varying temperature and volume. Isopiptesis, line connecting points of same arrival date of migratory species. Isopleth, line connecting points of equal aspect of climate. Isopolity, reciprocity of rights of citizenship in two communities. Isopore, line connecting points of equal annual change in magnetic field. Isoprofit, line connecting points of equal profit. Isopsephic, equal in number. Isopicnic, line connecting points of equal density. Isoquant, line connecting points of equal output. Isorhythm, line connecting points of equal population density. Isoropic, of equal value. Isoseismal, line connecting points of same earthquake intensity. Isostasy, condition of equilibrium in the Earth's crust. Isostere, line connecting points of equal specific volume of a substance. Isotac, line joining points where the ice melts at the same time of year. Isotach, line connecting points of the same wind speed. Isothere, line connecting points of equal summer temperature. Isotherm, line connecting points of equal temperature. Isothermobath, line connecting points of equal temperature at a given ocean depth. Isothermbrose, line connecting points of equal ratio of summer rainfall to annual rainfall. Isotropic, having the same properties in every direction. Isovol, line connecting points of equal ratio of fixed to volatile carbon in coal. Issels, sparks, embers. Issuant, issuing from. In heraldry, emerging from the bottom of a chief. Ist, one who holds to an ism. Isthmian, living on or situated on an isthmus. Isthmoid, resembling an isthmus. Istle, coarse tough Central American fibre used to make cords and nets. Eticism, pronunciation of the Greek letter eta as e. Itai, disease caused by cadmium poisoning and resulting in back pain. Italiate, person of Greek descent dwelling in ancient Italy. Italomania, obsession with Italy or Italians. Item likewise also. Iter, circuit, path, road, or line of travel. Iterant, repeating, echoing. Iteration, repetition. Iterum, again, afresh, anew. Ithomede, tropical South American butterfly. Ithephalic, indecent, immoral. Itinerarian, traveller. Itinerarily in the course of wandering. Ischen, the action of going. Etis, bodily condition or disease. Eulan, of the first growth of the beard. Eulus, millipede. Evie, Tahitian chestnut tree. Ivoride, imitation ivory. Ivorin, white and smooth like ivory. Ivorist, one who carves ivory professionally. Ivresse, drunkenness. Iwes, surely, certainly. Ixia, South African beautiful flowering plant. Ixiodic, of, like or pertaining to ticks. Ixora, tropical evergreen shrub with white flowers.